Hey everybody, welcome to the OnCourt OffCourt Game Changers Club. This is actually our first of many presentations where we get to hear a little bit from behind the scenes from Joe and Kalindi Dinoffer. We get to learn more about just the history of OnCourt OffCourt, the products that they're developing, the heart behind what they're trying to do, and probably a lot of other secrets and cool things. So we're really excited to have Joe. Kalindi, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Billy.
Thanks, Billy. Great to be here.
Absolutely. And so Joe, obviously CEO, founder, OnCourt OffCourt, Kalindi, the chief marketing officer. I'm Billy Robbins. I get to work with Kalindi closely in marketing. And so we're really excited to get this kicked off. Joe, I think you're up first. We wanted to have you share because, everybody loves the products and the training aids and they're so innovative. But there's a lot of story behind some, the products that you've made and the history of these. And so I was hoping you could take a few minutes and share some of the products, a couple products, the history behind it, some ideas, thoughts, anything that comes to mind about some of these cool products that you invented.
Sure. Thanks, Billy, for organizing this. Kalindi, thanks for everything you're doing. It comes down to something that's common for all sports. And any coaches know this, that two things are usually done in excess. And those two things are thinking and speaking. And, I've done this where I do a coach's workshop, and here we go. And you walk out like this, and coaches are like, what? And it's because people talk too much. And therefore, when someone's speaking, especially if they're in a coaching situation, the students or the people that they are trying to guide to improve are having to listen too much. When you're hearing and listening and trying to understand what someone's saying, what naturally happens? Obviously, you start thinking. And everyone in every sport, in terms of high levels of performance, they talk about getting in the zone. They don't talk about, man, the more you think, the better you're going to perform. And this is the paradox of learning and performing in any physical activity. People think too much, and the coaches speak too much. So with this in mind, I did a lot of research starting in the 70s and 80s, and then OnCourt OffCourt, we started in 94 with the concept of how to accelerate learning. And I knew already it couldn't involve speaking, and it shouldn't involve thinking. So we wanted what are called guidance systems to more automatically, without the thinking and the speaking and the hearing and the computing, without those things, we wanted it to more automatically take place. And I coined that phrase automatic learning as part of this whole system. So as an example, we did a clinical study. I think I've talked about this before on court with people to discover whether or not they are primarily visual, auditory, or kinesthetic learners. Kinesthetic means through feeling. So here's one device that is, our result was that 98% of people are a combination of kinesthetic, feeling, physically feeling, and visual learners as opposed to just auditory. So that's a huge percentage. So here's one example, for example, our volley arrow. It's a two-headed arrow. It's meant for improving your volley. Too many people, when they're volleying in tennis, they swing out, they follow through, they use their wrist like this. But what you want simply is a very short, compact racket motion. You don't want a big backswing because you don't need power, because the ball is coming in with more speed out of the air. After it bounces, it slows down by 50%. So out of the air, it's coming in faster, and you want to rebound. And when you don't have a backswing, you don't need a follow through, nor do you want one. So the racket should finish pointing where you just aimed the ball. And the volley arrow, as you can see, points that way, whether it's for a backhand volley, or if I roll my chair around, for a forehand volley. And that's it. The only exception would be a very slow sitter, which would be like a modified overhead that you just put away. So that's an example of a kinesthetic and visual training aid. That's one example. And this particular one just slides into any racket throat because it's made out of foam. So simple, inexpensive, accelerates learning, promotes what we call automatic learning. Less speaking from the coaches, right? And from the student's standpoint, less thinking. Thinking interferes with getting into that zone, if you will, that spontaneous, effortless sensation of relaxed performance at whatever level the person plays. So that's an example of a volley arrow. And we can move to other ones if you would like. That was a tennis aid.
Yeah, well, actually, Joe, let me ask you a question. How'd you come up with that idea? Was there a moment, was there a time where, you were coaching or something happened, or, what was the aha moment? Do you remember that for that particular product? Anything that kind of stood out about that?
Well, we had years ago, starting in the 70s when I worked with Peter Burwash, we took a coat hanger and we put holes in tennis balls. So the coat hanger went through one ball, through another one like that. And that was the idea of contact point in general. Everyone is influenced by different people. Peter Burwash was influenced by Vandermeer. Vandermeer was influenced by Chet Murphy. Chet Murphy was influenced by Paul Xanthos, and the list goes on throughout history of coaching. And this is for any sport. That's just specifically tennis. So I took that concept of the contact point, directing the ball, because after all, the backswing is to get racket head speed, like a backswing in baseball versus bunting. And the follow through is just so you don't slam on the brakes and create tension, right? So the follow through is to avoid injury and keep things flowing. So contact determines three things. And I knew this, so this was the essence of this product, where it came from. The three things that contact deals with is direction, right? If the racket is pointed here, it's going to go there, and so forth. And also, if you're during contact, if you're going up, it'll help create arc. And also, it can help with ball rotation. If the racket face is open, the ball comes in, it's going to come off with backwards spin, reverse spin, or back spin. And if you're going up with a level, but an upwards motion, or a slightly closed racket face, then you will be creating what's called forward spin or top spin. So it's really that simple. And the whole thing was how to make it simple, how to make it affordable, how to make it usable, very user-friendly that coaches or players could use to improve their games. And I can tell you all the studies show that 200 to 300% faster learning takes place with kinesthetic or visual aids. That is proven in studies in Europe and in the US with golf, skiing, tennis, and multiple sports.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. Do you have another product you could share, Joe?
Yeah, I like this one very much. And we have it for, I'll show it for pickleball first, and then we'll switch to tennis. Because you might say, gosh, what's that thing on your pickleball paddle? And it's called our sweet spot trainer for pickleball. And Kalindi, just pipe in if I jumble up any product names like that. But
it's the pickleball sweet spot trainer.
Pickleball sweet spot trainer. There we go. We've passed 100 different products and training aids. So sometimes we all mix up a couple of words. The customers will call it one thing. And that's a difficult thing sometimes to just figure out. And what are you talking about? And then they have to describe it. So Kalindi's laughing because that is so common, right? So we know that whether it's for tennis or pickleball, if you contact the ball in the middle, it's called the sweet spot. It's the center of percussion. In that area, you get a more solid feel, right? Whether it's pickleball or tennis, and you get a more solid sound, which triggers your ability to relax, your amygdala fires, your pleasure-seeking, pleasure response chemicals fire in your brain, all of those things. That's why it's called the sweet spot. It sounds pleasurable, right? So this training aid And the sweet spot trainer for tennis, which just slides over the top, really simple, helps guide people to make contact more consistently in the center of percussion. And the result will be more solid hits. When you hit off center, you get more torque, so people tend to grip too tight. And effectively, you start playing better. And you don't have to, again, think about it, because thinking slows down progress. It sounds counterintuitive. Some thought about tactics, strategy, you know, bring the right sneakers to the court, all those things. That's where the thinking should take place. But once you're playing in the middle of a point, really, you shouldn't be thinking hardly at all. Tactically, yeah, perhaps, but it should become more and more automatic without the brain interfering with the flow that your body naturally is capable of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Do you have a specific example around the sweet spot trainer, as far as maybe like an early iteration, or what led you to first start using it, or anything else kind of behind the scenes about that?
I mean, and this obviously it just slides off. So what people could do is practice with it. And if the ball hits the edge here, it'll deflect. So they know when they're hitting off center, and it will bring their eyes to focus more on that contact area. And I say contact area because, and maybe you can see it's high enough, that the contact of a ball on a racket happens too fast for the human eye to see, just that contact. With a tennis ball, it's 3 to 4 1/1000ths of a second, that point of contact, way too fast for the human eye. The human eye can see about 60 cycles per second. So that's 1/60th of a second is what the human eye can pick up. So what we tell people is, whether it's a tennis racket or a pickleball paddle or anything, even a baseball bat and ball, is you want to do what's called gaze control. There's a 3-foot area where your focus is effective prior to contact. And that's the area that you want to zoom into. And that will help you. In other words, you don't want to be looking away totally, because it's going to be harder, right? Your eyes do need to function. So the whole idea, where I come from, I had at least 30,000 hours, individual hours of tennis instruction. And in that time, you learn what frustrates people, what's difficult for people to learn. I did coaches workshops for years, maybe 500 different workshops for tennis coaches primarily. And in one of them in New England, I asked 75 coaches, what are the 3 things, write down the 3 things that you're sick and tired of saying to students. These are people that teach 30, 40 hours a week. And the things that they said were the typical 3 things that have been said for the last 50, 60 years on tennis courts or longer. And those were: bend your knees, racket back, and watch the ball. And while those are, in a vacuum, sometimes, yeah, it's good to get your racket back, prepare your racket faster, earlier, but at the same time, it's limited. It's very ambiguous. Bend your knees, well, how much? So we've got different devices that help with all these basics, and we try to give coaches options to help them help their students improve. So whether they go to Home Depot and do something, or whether they get a training aid from us, the main thing is to help their students improve, because a happy student is someone who's improving. They come back for more, they tell their friends, and sports and wellness grow. And that's the whole idea, is to help people in general with their mental, physical, and social health.
That's fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing those. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what the next time the new products you're going to bring up, because I always love the backdrop behind these stories. It's fantastic.
I did bring one more.
Oh, you got one more?
I got one more. It's
please.
A new one.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't realize. Let it roll.
So one of the problems in tennis, we talked earlier about the fact that people shouldn't be thinking too much. The less they think, the more they're capable of getting in the flow or getting in the zone, as coaches in all sports say. So one of those things is that tension is, if we held our arms, like Billy, if you hold your arms close to your body.
All right.
Right. And you don't have to squeeze, but you can squeeze. Kalindi, you too. And then hold the arms away or drop them down to your side. And which one do you feel more relaxed, when the arm is in or when it's out?
Out.
Yeah, out. There's no, because fewer muscles are firing.
Yep.
But people get tense because they're thinking and they're worried about succeeding or failing with each shot. And that tension brings things in, and they start contacting the ball too close to their bodies, right? So when they do that, I'm going to stand up so you'll just see in pickleball, it looks like this, where they're just kind of shoveling the ball and pushing it in here, but they don't want to be here. Tension is going to slow down the path of the racket head, the speed of the racket head, and then the transference to the ball, right? The ball speed slows down. In tennis, for example, racket head speed to ball speed, the ratio, the ball speed adds 35% to the racket speed. So if you could swing at 100 miles an hour, your ball speed would be 135. That would be top players in the world serving. If on a ground stroke, which is an intermediate to advanced intermediate, a person could swing at 50 miles per hour, then they would be effectively getting a ball speed with a tennis ball of 67 and a half. So you add 35% to 50 and you get 67 and a half. So loose is good, right? And tight, tense, is not good. So in the case of pickleball, we'll go back, we call this, and the name, it's a bit of a funny name, but why not? It's a little catchy. This is called the Space Aid. And it's got a hole in the bottom, and you just slide it on, you just turn your paddle handle here. And then when you're swinging, you can't get too close because you would feel that dense foam hitting you. Right? So therefore you can hit, and it gets you more of a distance. It's called spacing, or space, between you and the ball, and effectively relaxes the arm. On a tennis racket, that same product just goes on the butt of the racket, just turns on, you hold it in the same place, and again, you get space, which relaxes the arm, increases the swing speed, increases the ball speed. And that's called the Space Aid. Comes with, pictures, instructions, little poly bag, inexpensive, easy to use. What does it do? It speeds up improvement. And it is a kinesthetic aid primarily. A little bit of visual, because if you look at it, you're going to see that space. And that's one of our more recent products that we just launched. So seeing a problem and figuring out how to help people to correct those situations, seeing a challenge more easily. And kinesthetic and visual aids are the way to do it. It's really that simple.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love those demonstrations. Yeah, and this is like just so simple, so easy to use. Get out there, throw it on, start to take a few reps, and you can really just start to see the changes right away.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole idea. And you do it, maybe you do it 5 or 10 balls, and then you take it off once you feel you've got the sensation of what you need to do, and then you put it back on. These training aids should be easy to put on, easy to take off. If you're a coach, you can, use it for multiple students. If you're a player, for different family members, and we specifically kept pricing very low for these, because individuals, hopefully, they're not going to need it the rest of their lives, that they can use it. And then if they lay off for the winter and go back in the spring and they find that they're too tight, they can say, oh, let me get that Space Aid out again. And then they can loosen up and get a little more distance to their to the ball. If they take lessons from somebody, I highly suggest that they bring some duct tape and give the coach a little gift. If they're the type of coach who speaks too much, you can imagine being in a lesson where the coach is yelling across the net, "Hey, John, lower your racket, you're so tight." I mean, talk about counterproductivity in the middle of trying to learn. First of all, the person gets embarrassed. The coach is yelling across the net, raising their voice. Nobody likes being yelled at. He's being corrected in front of other people. And he's forced to think while he's doing something physically, and that is going to fight against any tendency he has to relax through. He's going to get tense. It's really that simple. You don't want tension while you're performing physical motions.
That makes sense. That's awesome. Yeah, you already, I wanted to ask you to share some coaching tips, but that was just all intermingled with some fantastic coaching tips. And yeah, that was awesome. I want to take a second and segue over to Kalindi, because, obviously OnCourt OffCourt, just all this started from this tennis and then into pickleball, but a really big push these days too for OnCourt OffCourt has been in the wellness area. And that's what I love about what you guys do is it's really the whole person, the whole player. That's what being a game changer is really all about. It's not just the technique and the training aid and those things, the mental aspect, health, wellness, all those things. And I know, Kalindi, this is something that's very near and dear to you. And would you mind sharing just real quickly about kind of just, what OnCourt OffCourt's doing from a wellness perspective? And I believe you have maybe even an exercise or something that we can walk through right here to kind of, give an example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, as Joe was talking about these stories with the kinesthetic aids, I mean, I kept almost interjecting and saying, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we're doing on the, with the off-court piece. And I've done many different mindfulness trainings and yoga trainings. And, it's all about getting out of our head, which gets thinking and anxiety. And that's also how, if you've ever had the experience in a tennis match or pickleball match or just any sport or life, like of getting tight and choking, that's when it's the mind, taking over and we're not flowing. So it's like, I feel like the OnCourt OffCourt name had some, predestination there and foreshadowing our off-court wellness line more, since it's, exactly as you said, Billy, it's about the whole player, the whole coach, making sure that they're taking care of themselves on and off the court. And yeah, I was, a competitive tennis player for, many years as a junior and beat up my body, had injuries, learned the hard way how to, take care of myself better. And I know we've had different full-on webinars and discussions around that, so I won't bore everybody by talking for like an hour nonstop on that. But yeah, just briefly wanted to share an easy mindfulness exercise that can be done really anytime. It's a great one to do before you get out onto the court, whether it's for practice or a match. It can be done first thing in the morning before bed, and really it's just a good basic check-in with the body and the breath to see how you're doing. And the more you practice bringing yourself back to the present moment, the easier it's going to be to translate that in any situation. Whether you're trying to relax on a forehand, because you'll notice, oh, I'm starting to do that thing again where I'm getting tight and I'm overthinking, and you can, sometimes it's enough just the recognition is the first step, because what happens to most people is, it's the end of the day, the week, the month, the year, and it's, I just feel so stressed. But where did that stress come from? Where's that root cause? And the more you can notice it in the moment, oh, I'm feeling some anxiety here. Oh, I'm feeling that here. You know what? Let me take a couple of minutes. Let me slow down. Let me breathe. The more you can be in the present moment, and that's what leads to happier coaches, players, people. So yeah, if you guys are willing, I'll take you through it. It'll just take like a minute or so. This can, of course, be extended longer, but I'll just give a little bit of a taste. And it's basically a check-in with the breath and with our thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations in the body. So a good way to recognize what's going on and be able to release some tension. So go ahead and get comfy wherever you're sitting. Maybe shake out your arms and legs a little bit. Let out a nice deep full exhale. And then allow that inhale breath to arise naturally. If it feels comfortable, you can close your eyes or just take a soft, unfocused gaze in front of you. I always like to teach the exhale first, because if you do a complete exhale, you have no choice but to take a nice, easy inhale versus big inhale first. If someone's a little tight, they're going to have that tendency to hold the breath. So just let it all out on that exhale, and allow the inhale to come naturally. And just taking a few more easy exhales and inhales.
Exhale through the mouth or the nose better?
Either way, yeah. If it feels comfortable, you can do it through the nose, but really whatever feels comfortable. The inhale, though, is ideal through the nose just for the optimum air circulation, and our nasal passages have some really good filtration systems built in. And as you're settling in here, just noticing what's going on in your body and mind. Noticing any physical sensations in your body. Not judging them, but simply noticing, oh, that's interesting. My back's feeling a little tighter. Oh, it's interesting. My foot feels relaxed. Just a noticing, as if you're noticing something for the first time. And seeing if you can release any judgments around what you're noticing. Seeing if you can notice a little bit of kindness towards yourself. And then adding on a layer of noticing any thoughts that have come floating by as you've been in this exercise. Knowing that thoughts are normal. A common expression is that our minds are monkey minds. They like to jump all over the place. When you notice your mind drifting away from what you want to be engaging in the present moment, just, imagine your mind is like a pet or a small child, and you're just, going to gently pick them up and say, okay, come on, mind, time to come back to the moment. It's okay. And you just keep doing that as many times as needed. So noticing now physical sensations, thoughts, and then adding on the last noticing of any emotions. Noticing what you're feeling right now. Noticing without judgment. Allowing yourself this moment of checking in with thoughts, emotions, sensations. And then letting them all melt away with your next exhale. And taking a few more easy, deep inhales and exhales. And as you're ready, returning your awareness to your surroundings gently, opening your eyes, perhaps wiggling your fingers and toes once more. Wonderful. How do you guys feel after that?
Very peaceful.
Good.
More peaceful, for sure. More relaxed, more centered.
Yeah. So that's a really nice one, because it's, you know, checking in with those three aspects: thoughts, emotions, physical sensations, and they usually go hand in hand. It's like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Because thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations, that, you know, you might have a certain emotion, you might feel that in your body. That emotion might also have a thought. And the more you can be aware of these, the more you can be centered, focused, and, you know, in what athletes call the zone or the flow state that, Joe, you were also talking about. That's, you know, ties in with the kinesthetic learning aids, because they're helping you get more in the zone and feeling and just being connected with yourself in the present moment. So yeah, super easy one to do. It could be shorter than what we did. That ended up being a few minutes, or it could be longer and just, yeah, easy to do anytime.
Awesome. That was thank you, Kalindi. That's fantastic. Now let's talk about another. See, there's OnCourt OffCourt. There's depth, not only to the company, but the leaders here. And actually, this is a good tee up for another depth of what OnCourt OffCourt brings, especially Joe Dinoffer. Joe, you know, I know a passion of yours and something you invested a lot in is with poetry. I mean, you've got a couple published books, and would you, you know, maybe share something with everyone here? I know you've got yeah, there they are. I have them both. And Joe, would you maybe select a poem you feel like would be good for today's presentation? And I'd love for you to share that.
Sure. Actually, this one connects to both coaches and learning. It wasn't quite the one I picked, but it just opened to that page, so I'm going to do that one. And this is from the Words, Wisdom, and Whimsy, the proverbial owl, amazing creatures on the cover. And, you know, when we're learning in sports or we're learning in life, we know that openness and humility are like essential. It's like a prerequisite course to learning and growing. You have to acknowledge that we're not perfect. We have ways to go. Life is a journey. It's about progress, not perfection. And this one, yeah, I think this is well suited for coaches and athletes. It's called Hearts of Cards. And you can see the illustration by Zandy Smith shows cards trying to get to the top. Who wants to be king? Some hearts soft, most cards hard. We're all unique, oblique, with subtle mystique. Decks reflect the world's deluge, competing cards each sing, I just want to be king. While humble, outnumbered, ever patient, patience are living past pretense. And you can see the two down there. And peaceful, knowing that selfless love yields true strength, while self-anointed kings learn. They do not have wings, and it wasn't a game after all.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Joe. That's fantastic. Now, a lot of people might not know that you have those. Or maybe you share a little bit of where somebody could get those books.
Kalindi?
Yeah, they're on our website.
Under what section?
I believe they're under our book section. So we have a few books. A lot of them are now digital downloads. There are other books that are in. And then these poetry books are in there as well. They're also on Amazon and yeah, I think, yeah, if anyone has any questions on that, they're welcome to reach out to me and I can send them the links.
Yeah, they're fantastic and they're very well done. Just like you said, the covers, everything's just a really, really high quality content that you've created, Joe. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
All right, so let's move on to our next section here. So we wanted to spend some time talking about some of the upcoming products that OnCourt OffCourt has. Let me share my screen here. All right. So there are some new products, some that are about to be out, maybe some that just hit the market. And would you mind sharing a little bit about these products as well? Just kind of the functionality, what people can expect, maybe even some timings that things will be available. And I'll let Joey and Kalindi just share, just kind of naturally on any of these, whatever comes to mind.
Cool. This one is the multi-twist mini. It just came out. And I know I'm giving a sneak preview of the next slide, which is the product that will tie in with this, the Infinity Play System, which I'll let Joe share more about because he's worked really hard over the past few years to develop this product, and it's really, really cool. But this product is available now as a standalone. It works for pickleball and tennis and all of the different transition balls, red, orange, and green balls. As you can see by the little girl picking up the machine, it's super light. It comes in at 6 pounds and can be taken to the court. It has 5 adjustable settings for different ball toss speeds and could even be done in the backyard. Joe, do you have anything to add on this before we go to the Infinity?
Yeah, battery operated. Batteries will last for many months under normal use. We did change, people that know the tennis industry will know that this resembles the original tennis twist, which morphed into the multi-twist, which is about twice as tall. So basically what we did is we worked on an exclusive agreement to modify that machine to improve it. So we scaled it down in size, and it has plenty of balls, about 15 balls. You really don't want to hit more than 10 or 15 balls in a row anyway, because you get tired. So on a ball machine, if you're working, you want to pause it after, every 10, 15 balls. You don't want to hit 40 in a row, because the quality of your focus goes down. Points don't last that long. You're going to be physically tired, whatever you're working on, because your focus is decreasing. You're not going to work as effectively. So you want to stay within the time length of an average point, or at least not 10 times longer. So the average point in tennis is 3 hits. In pickleball, it's a little over 6 hits. So this machine gives you up to 14 balls, which is more than enough in terms of hitting that many in a row. Also, people will know that the tennis twist had a feed every 5 seconds, which is a little bit slow, always has been. So we invested in a new motor, which speeds up the feed rate to be more realistic with a tennis rally. And the person hits the ball every 3.5 seconds, which for a beginner, advanced beginner, intermediate level player, that's really quite good. And it works for all these different balls, red balls, all the tennis transition balls, regular tennis balls, and pickleballs, both indoor and outdoor balls. It has 5 speed adjustments, which is not so much speed, but it's tension on the spring. It has a hammer, so it'll hit further or less far. So depending on the ball you're using and the skill of the player, you can adjust it just with a little adjustment knob, if you will, which is on the bottom of the machine, and there's a simple on-off switch. So that's the multi-twist mini, and just launched. And we have, we're proud to say we work with Sports Tutor, the manufacturer, and we have an exclusive worldwide licensing agreement for all distribution, marketing, and sales.
That's fantastic.
That's the multi-twist mini.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I want to move right on to the next one, since they really integrate amazingly together. So yeah, tell us more about the Infinity Play System.
Well, infinity because it's continuous. We think of infinity, it's endless, it keeps going. So essentially the mini twist, the multi-twist mini feeds the ball. The person hits into a large zone, a netting. The net absorbs the ball speed. So it can be even very high level players. And then the ball drops down and feeds again. So now we're not limited to those 15 balls. I went through that whole explanation that you don't want to hit that many in a row. But if you have a group of players, you can hit 2 in a row, and then you can hit, move to the end of the line. You can keep multiple people going. And also, easily enough, you can have 2 people do it, where one picks up the balls if anyone misses, right? And then they hit, let's say, 20, 30 balls in a row, if that's what the coach wants them to do, and then just rotates. So continuous play. And the multi-twist, what's cool about it is you can take it off the device, bring just that little ball machine to the courts, and you can work with the infinity play system in a garage, in a basement, just about anywhere, the deck, patio, outside your house, driveway, cul-de-sac, very lightweight, good instructions. There's videos on our site, and that will be available in the coming weeks. So we're excited about it.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I think about that, being able to use that in your garage or your back patio or something. That flexibility is amazing.
Kalindi, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things. You know, as one of the images there is demonstrating how Coach Jorge Capistani, who was awesome enough to test out the product and do some videos and pictures with it. Yeah, he's a great partner, so shout out to Jorge. He's showing how it easily folds to be very thin to store. So that's a really nice perk for clubs and facilities, since they can easily just do that. And then, you know, he's at an indoor facility. He says he likes to just put it behind the indoor curtain, but so many more options, you know, including for more compact storage for an individual in their, you know, garage or shed or wherever they may be storing it. And then, you know, I play table tennis as well, and have a ping pong or table tennis ball machine, and this like is the same concept but for tennis. So as soon as I learned about ping pong ball machines, I was like, they're kind of better than tennis ones, because you don't ever have to pick up the balls, because the netting, you know, it's smaller, right? So the netting connects around the table and you just keep hitting, and I'm like, this is so cool, because it's that benefit, since nobody likes picking up balls. That's boring. So yeah, it's super fun and very excited about this product that will be coming out soon.
Wow, that's exciting. And actually, as I'm seeing this, I'm like, ooh, you need the sweet spot trainer, right? On your racket or your paddle, and this guy right here. And
exactly.
Wow, could you you start hitting that ball in that sweet spot all the time? That's amazing what that would transfer onto the court.
Yeah, and you can also use it for volleying.
Yeah. As
we demonstrated, and use the volley arrow through the racket, so that you're making sure that your direction is accurate. Wow. Yeah, it works with every training aid for sure.
Fantastic. Wow, it's exciting. All right, let's look at the next product here.
So this is our multi-mower, which we've sold for a number of years, and this is a new and improved version. So of course, pickleball has been booming. So we got a lot of feedback that, hey, is your multi-mower, are you ever gonna have one for pickleball? So we did the best of both worlds. We modified it so that it now works for tennis, including it was already working for the transition balls, red, orange, green, all of those. And now it also works for pickleballs. And while we were making that improvement, we thought, let's just keep the improvements rolling, because we modified the arms to allow for even smoother ball pickup around the net area or back fence, where the balls can kind of get stuck and, you know, you need to pull them out. So yeah, this product will also be coming soon, so very excited about that.
Yeah, the only surface with pickleball which is challenging because it's slippery would be a gymnasium floor. Some people in the wintertime, they'll set up takedown lines for pickleball in a gymnasium or a rec center with those hard, glossy wooden floors, and it's a little problematic on that. But on a regular gritty tennis court or a regular gritty pickleball court, which is normal, it works nicely.
That's fantastic. Yeah, some great improvements.
Yeah, and I might add, the balls go into the lower tray, and then you just pick up the lower tray, fill up the upper tray, And then if it's for a coaching scenario or two players feeding balls to one another, it doubles as a teaching cart. So very handy and easy to use. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, let's look at the next one here, the Rebounder Deluxe.
Yeah, I got to jump in on this one. I love this visually, functionally. It's 7 by 10 feet, I believe, and just adjustable angle. So when you hit it, it comes back with an arc. It's at 15 degrees, which is a normal rebound angle for people playing tennis or pickleball. It works well for all ball sports. It could even work for medicine balls for people, doing that sort of thing. It's on locking wheels, so you can stabilize it with hitting balls against it, and then you can unlock the wheels, obviously, and move it out of the way, whether in your garage or in an indoor tennis facility, very easily. It also angles, not only angle back, but it angles vertically. And what's cool about that, especially for tennis, is you hit the ball down onto the ground, it bounces off the netting and upwards, and then you can get overhead smash practice. We added that green border to help people zoom in on target areas. And the setup is super easy. You can see that there are just Velcro straps around the outside. If occasionally one pops off, Velcro is Velcro, it's great, but it can pop off. You just lay it back together again. And that's the Rebounder Deluxe. Easy to set up, easy to store, affordable, very durable, and it's got a soft rebound so you can play in a fairly confined area, which is great in two ways. Number one, you can use it in a garage or a driveway or a cul-de-sac or even a patio. And number two, the ball doesn't bounce off too far, so that less advanced players will have an easy time hitting their target zone. It's also large enough for two players to hit on side by side. So great new product. And again, we'll have that out in the coming weeks. Yeah,
very soon. And I think Joe, I don't know if you mentioned that it's also on wheels, which is really nice to roll and maneuver around, and it works for pickleball, tennis, including transition balls. So very versatile, for all kinds of racket and paddle sports, and a lot of fun.
Yeah, even would work for lacrosse or rebounders. If somebody wanted to hit it with a baseball bat, hit into it with a softball or hardball, that would rebound, and then their partner could work on their grounders or pop-ups or reflexes for skill development for all sports, even passing in basketball, soccer, commonly known as football outside of the United States. So there you go, Rebounder Deluxe.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Great product. All right. I think lastly, we want to talk about the Pickle Net and the Pickle Net Deluxe. There's some advancements here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a little preview of our co-branding launch with USA Pickleball. I'll just give a brief intro, and then I would love for Joe to share some of the history behind this relationship, because I think it's really cool. If you kind of look closely at the screen, you can see for these two images how there's the OnCourt OffCourt name, but also the USA Pickleball one. So we've been having a great partnership with them, and these two nets will be the official nets of USA Pickleball. And the Pickle Net Deluxe also has some additional upgrades. It's now being made partially with aluminum, which is a superior material. It's lighter, so it's even easier. It's already a easy to maneuver net because it's on wheels, but it's even lighter. So for lifting it out of your car when it's in the bag, or just general setup and maneuverability, and it makes it even a little bit more weather resistant. Of course, we still don't recommend leaving the nets out, just under all conditions, just from a taking good care of them perspective, but it will make it a little bit more resistant to the elements just because of that added aluminum component.
Yeah, for sure. And I may want to add that there is at least one aluminum net out there, not with our patented oval system, which guarantees the alignment is very good. But when you put aluminum on the bases, it has a downside. In a very windy day, the net can move, number one, and number two, in terms of stability, with shots that, with advanced players that hit the top of the net won't jolt because you've got that weight. So we left the steel on the end posts and the bases, and we added aluminum on the 6 of the pipes in the middle to lighten the weight, lower cost for shipping, make it easier to, I mean, now you can check it in on an airplane, whereas the all steel version was too heavy for that. So nice little features. And as far as the co-branding goes, we're happy to say that you know, the net systems overall are our best-selling line of products. They're patented, and we have the PickleNet Mini, PickleNet Deluxe, and the regular PickleNet. The PickleNet and the PickleNet Deluxe are 22 feet long, regulation length. Also, we've got the center strap, which is patented, which is a wide bar, so it resembles the center strap that everyone's accustomed to rather than a thin rod. And as well, the partnership with USA Pickleball, part of it is that we are promoting their membership, which promotes pickleball as a sport, because they support so many hundreds, if not thousands, of activities for promoting pickleball in schools, recreational areas, tournaments, sponsorships, sanctioning, training umpires, all those things, rankings, and we're promoting their memberships with a promotional card in all the nets we sell. Plus, these nets will be available at a discount for USA Pickleball members on their site. So great global partnership. It's launching just in the next few weeks from when we're recording this. We're recording in May of 2022. And in the coming months, everyone's going to see these co-branded nets. So we're really excited about the partnership. Exciting times.
Yeah, absolutely. And just wanted to add on to Joe, your great point that you could now check a PickleNet Deluxe in on an airplane. The PickleNet Deluxe bag, in my opinion, is a really great travel duffel bag. I've taken it to many conventions. So actually, I never actually checked in the net because it was 63 pounds. So it, you know, is over that weight limit, but it's a great bag for checking in. So I definitely foresee some, you know, especially like thinking of USA Pickleball ambassadors that are traveling to different events, or
yeah, we have to get the word out on that one.
A nice fun benefit. Like I just got like, I get sometimes these weird, you know, flashes of things. Like if this was like a Super Bowl commercial or something, like you see someone in the airport and they're going to all over them. Anyway, that's a little bit silly for this, but what's like about some humor. And yeah, Joe, do you mind just, you know, kind of as we're wrapping things up, also just, you've shared it with me before and you'll share it better, just a little bit about the history of the relationship with USA Pickleball and the, you know, the development of these nets, because I know, you know, people know that these are awesome, patented, you know, top of the line, best-selling nets, but I think not that many people know how it started.
Sure, we're approaching 25 years of manufacturing or cross-marketing with the governing body for pickleball in the United States, which is called USA Pickleball. And we were approached to manufacture their nets specifically. We also have an exclusive worldwide private label agreement with Head Pen. So all of their portable tennis nets and pickleball nets, we manufacture for them and several other companies as well under their names. And for USA Pickleball, it's been nothing other than a delight to work with them. Great organization. As most of us know, as we know, pickleball is the #1 fastest growing sport in the United States right now, and still behind tennis in terms of, you know, tennis is in the low 20 millions. I think it's around 24 million of frequent players, and pickleball is around 6 million, I think, from my memory. But it is growing faster. So it'll be interesting to see how the coming years manifest that growth in terms of participation. But pickleball is an easier sport to just pick up and start playing. It doesn't require quite the sophistication, you might say, as tennis. And tennis has its own allures. So both sports, great. Platform tennis, pickleball, tennis, racquetball, squash, table tennis. So many of our training aids work for those plus other sports. So, so much fun. We're just happy to bring both fun and opportunities for improved health and satisfaction to people in the US and in any of the over 100 countries that we've seen our products used in.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And, you know, I just working with you guys, I just know so much, you know, how much this means to you. This isn't just about products and, you know, selling things online. This is your heart. This is what you live, you breathe, you care about, you support the community so well. And it's always a pleasure to work with you both on these initiatives. And I'm really excited about these new game changer calls that we're doing. We'll have some more coming up soon, but Joe, Kalindi, thank you so much for doing this. And we're excited for the next one.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Billy, for facilitating this. It's super fun. And I love our new Game Changers Club, and to whoever will be watching this for the first time, thank you for joining us and supporting, and reach out anytime with any questions, comments, or ideas.
And subscribe.
Sorry, smash that like button. Awesome. Well, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Kalindi. Till next time, this has been the Game Changer Club, and have a great day.